Okay, keeping with the theme of imports inside of PLM 360, let's take a look at some of the other advanced functionality and features that you have. Of course, we can run the import and imports again and again to any workspace that we have access to do that. And we'll talk about this in an upcoming video where we'll talk about the roles and the permissions that allow you to do this. But let's talk about imports. And notice that every time I run an import, it lists it down here. So we can actually uh, create a cache of these and then decide to go in and run them. They're also here as a history of what actually happened. So let's go and take a look right now at the very first import that I ran. Here's the import that I ran initially, and this was 733 records uploaded and imported into PLM. You remember some of these settings. There was one very important setting over here. It was called Match On, and I want to focus on that right now. If we were to run this again or upload another spreadsheet or the identical spreadsheet, there are settings down at the bottom for new records. We'll add to the workspace, and for matching records, update the workspace. That's this match right there, which means you could have a very similar spreadsheet, maybe some of the titles changed, life cycle state, or any of the other fields in here. If they were to change or update, you'd see a little change up here. In this case, it says update. If it was brand new, you'd see an arrow and it would say insert. But let's talk about one of the other options in here, and that's where you can delete from the workspace. And in order to do this, let's go and take a look at the item master as it stands. We'll come back and we'll talk about mass and bulk deleting from a workspace inside of PLM 360. So here is our target workspace, items and bill of materials. And as I scroll down, you can see here's all of the items that are in there. Total number is almost 900 thanks to that import that I ran. Now what I want to talk about is cleaning up a workspace. And there's several ways we can do this. We do have, by review, if I go over to the Workspace Manager and go to the Item and Bill of Materials workspace itself. By the way, this is something you can do with any workspace, and it's a good practice before you bulk load is to go in and clean it out. We have a tool over here called Purge, and the Purge command will remove all the records but preserve the workspace. So we're not going to take any fields out. We're not going to do anything to it. It's a clean sweep. In fact, that's a little sweep broom icon that's on there. But what if you want to surgically take out a chunk of data, or maybe you uploaded some data? There's a number of ways that we can do this. So if you have an Excel spreadsheet, we can import it just for the sole purpose of deleting it. So that's what I want to run through next. In fact, I'm going to go back to the import that I just ran to bulk load 733 items in. And I'm going to show you how you can take that same import and turn it around and use it to remove it, preserving the original data set that was in there. Meanwhile, back inside of the import tool, if I take that previous run and down here where it says matching records, if I go and say, well, delete from the workspace, remember every time you make a configuration change, click on Save. What you'll see is it will match on these, and it matches and it says, well, this will delete. Now, if I were to go and run it right now, none created, no records updated, none skipped. However, deleted, it's actually going to take that 733 right out of here. So let's go and run that and go and take a look at the results. Over in the item master now, if I take a look at the total number of records, I'm back at my original 160 or so records, and this is the sample data set that came with the site out of the box. So I'm back here. So I've actually just taken all of that work and removed it. Now the good news is all of that information is still here. I could go and turn right around and import it again. But I just want to give you an idea of what you can use an import for. It's not only to bulk load, it's oftentimes to establish hierarchy and structure in your bill of materials, but you can also use it to take data directly out of PLM 360. Now I know you're probably thinking, well, how do I get that Excel spreadsheet? Now if you have that coming from another system, that's fine, just like I used to import the data and then update the bill of materials. But you can create a spreadsheet out of PLM 360 that is an actual report of your own workspace. And this is a nice way to run that round trip. So in this case, I have a report here called All Items Export. And the goal of this particular report, if I give you a preview of it here, this is an export of every item inside of the database. So I'm down to my 160 rows. So this could optionally give me an Excel export that I could go in, find the components, find the parts and the records that I want to delete, run the import, match on, and there's your delete. So you can do a really nice round trip um, export, then re-import to either update or delete as necessary within PLM 360.